So fun. Hello, hello, everyone. Let me know if you guys can hear me clearly tonight, but welcome to our Sunday Night Live. As you all know, if you missed my Friday Night Live, I want to do more live streams, and especially those that feature phenomenal stories. So, as you can tell, I have a beautiful guest here with me. Her name is Brianna. Yes, Brianna Mcree, right?
Bianca.
Yes. Bianca Mcree. And I actually met her in Florida, Tampa, Florida, literally just days ago. And she told me her story about her fertility journey. And I was so impressed. I was so, so happy for her. So I need her to share her story with you all. So we're going to dive right in. Bianca, how did you stumble across the carnivore diet?
So, long story long, I struggled with infertility for many years. I had suffered from multiple miscarriages and then just other ailments I'd struggled with, had lots of like cystic acne, hair loss, very, very painful periods for over 15 years, to the point where I would crawl across the floor sometimes from the pain. I
Hmm.
knew something was wrong, and doctors just kept telling me, like, oh, it's fine. This is normal. Here's some birth control. And I knew that it wasn't fine or normal, and birth control that never helped. It just made it worse, So that didn't last very long with me. But eczema, psoriasis, just lots of just things like that, all caused by inflammation. Now I know today. But I was told, that these things were like normal, they occur differently for different people. No doctor could ever give me a real answer as to what was going on with me or what was wrong. And this was like the majority of my life. I remember I was sick a lot as a kid, and I remember having eczema psoriasis as early as 6 years old, all the way on.
Wow.
And yeah, it was terrible. And so I, fast forward to when I met Hazel's dad, my daughter, I knew that I wanted to have children. And I met him about 11 years ago. We were together for 10 years. And I couldn't, we just couldn't, we just couldn't conceive. And every time we did, it ended up in a loss or chemical pregnancy.
Hmm.
And, and it was crazy, right? Because the truth is that like you can't outwork a bad diet. Like there are so many people out there that I know that think that, oh, well, I'm in the gym, I'm fit, I'm ripped, I have abs, this and that, and they're sick and they don't know
Hmm.
it. I mean, I have a friend who's a type 2 diabetics, self-induced diabetes, who's a bodybuilder. But the truth is you can't outwork a bad diet because I've been fit for most of my life. And
Yeah.
I did CrossFit, I coached it, I was competitive. I'm somebody that's 5'4", weighs 120 pounds, and my max deadlift's around 270 pounds. And I
Wow.
was sick, and I
Yeah.
tried everything. And it was funny because it was like this intuitive thing. I knew that
Right.
it had to be linked to diet, right? Because I was paleo, and that was when I was my
Hmm.
strongest, but I was still sick. I was still painful periods. I still had acne. I still had this hair loss. I still had psoriasis flare-ups from time to time, being
Yep.
paleo. And I went to pescatarian. I went vegan. That was the worst experience I had ever had. It was vegan, vegetarian. It was so bad.
Me too.
I am right. I had this cabinet that Travis called the stinky cabinet because it was just full of like all of these herbs and all this stuff that I thought was going to fix me.
Yep.
Um, yeah, all the valerian root just smells like a foot, right? And
Oh
it's
my
just
gosh.
right, all
I
this
I
stuff
never
that
did that, but
yeah, but that I think is gonna like heal my hormones. I did
right.
all this woo-woo stuff thinking, but I was like, and I threw away so much money just doing this. And I remember
Mm.
I went to a clinic, a local one, and I just got this feeling because they weren't treating me right. They were putting me through IUI cycles. And which is which is insemination. And
Oh,
which is basically, I learned, you throw away your money doing that because it's pretty much the same thing as having sex. They just
oh, wow.
bypass and right, they just bypass the cervix with the semen and they drop it off into the uterus to give it a shorter travel. And it
Okay.
tends to work sometimes, but the thing is that it works just like traditional coitus. So I knew something was wrong and I brought that up to him. I said, can you check me for endometriosis and polyps and things like that? Because I'm
Mhm.
like, I have these painful periods and it just isn't right. Like, and no, we don't do that. You have unexplained infertility. And then just
Wow.
they were just turning out cycles. Like I was just a number and I knew it and I felt it. And so I was
Mm,
defeated and I'm no longer going to continue. I didn't even get into IVF with them. I didn't even know I was going to afford it. But I also knew that like there was a high chance I wasn't going to be successful in IVF if I didn't get to the underlying cause, didn't know what it was. So I
mhm.
took like about a year break and then a friend of mine, she's a hairdresser, she had a client who had conceived her son through CNY fertility.
Got it.
And she said, I need you to talk to her because she had a lot of issues and she was successful with this clinic. And this clinic is actually more affordable, she said. I said, okay.
Mm,
So I called her and she told me about it. And I'm like, is there a catch? Like, is this because it's like you hear like an IVF clinic that's a third of the cost. You think, is this like a scam? Like, what is this legit? Like, am I gonna end up in a back alley somewhere? I didn't know what to think.
right.
I went online and I did a bunch of research and I said, okay, I said it worked for her. And so
Mhm.
I flew out to the Colorado location
Got
and
it.
I met with Dr. Magarelli, who is one of Dr. Kilt's own CNY fertility. We all run with Kilts. He's amazing.
Yep, yep, we
But I
do.
didn't know Kilts yet. But I
Got
flew
it.
out and I met with Magarelli, and Magarelli he said, now after my first transfer, he says, now you make sure you stay 60 carbs or less a day. So he was basically telling me to
Wow.
eat keto. And I said,
Right.
okay, well, I haven't tried keto yet, so I'll do it. And I tried it and I did feel better, but I was still having failed transfers and I was still having flare-ups.
Mm,
So I went through, I think, 2 or 3 cycles out there and I was
mhm.
starting to get discouraged. I'm running low on funds. I don't know what to do. And and I've never felt so alone before. I mean, because infertility is a very silent pain and dark journey. It's,
Absolutely.
as a woman, I mean, I'm sure there are men that go through this, but like I'm just speaking from a woman's perspective, is
Mhm.
that like we end up feeling broken, like there's something wrong with us. And when we're in this space, all the focus is on the woman. Even if
Yeah.
there's male infertility, the focus is
Mhm.
all on the woman, right? We have to take the meds, we have to take the shots, we have to do all the tests, we have to carry
Right.
the baby. Everything is on the woman. And I just felt like less of a woman. I
Mm,
remember being in like the darkest place. I remember just being so unhealthy, not just
yeah.
physically, but in my mind and body, which affects, right? The whole thing is your mind, body, spirit is one.
Right.
And so I decided, I said, because I'm very solution based. I'm like, always, there's an answer to everything. You just got to find it. And I said, well, I don't
Yeah.
need to feel this lonely. I can just create a community. So I
Yeah.
started an Instagram page and I started following and adding all these women that were in the same space as me. And I made all these friends. And
Wow.
this one woman ended up reaching out and I started posting about my story and I started asking for help and I started just talking about it. Um,
Yes.
I'm in real estate now, residential
Mhm.
and investments, and I do very well. But prior I was in clinicals and I worked as a social worker. So
Mm,
it's very customary for me or natural for me to just go right to a solution and talk therapy and talk about it. And it's so that being in that kind of space is a normal thing for me. And so
Mhm.
I was just out there talking about it. And this woman reached out to me and she said, I'm going to help you.
Mhm.
Dr. Kiltz's cell phone number.
Wow. Did
Right.
she already know that you were working with his clinic?
She knew I was at CNY. And I
Gotcha.
had,
Okay.
yeah, so I made friends with her. She's up in New York.
Amazing.
And I was, I made friends with her and we were talking for a while. And I mean, so supportive. These women, like a whole community, we would send each other, we would ship each other meds and we would ship each other presents. And when I was in Colorado,
Wow.
I met up with two of these women, going through the same thing.
Yeah.
So I've been able to travel around and meet a lot of these women. Today I connect with women around the world. I provide support for free.
Yes.
Anyone can reach
Wow.
out to me, talk to me, call me, because I don't believe in charging for support. I just don't.
Yeah,
Um, just because of how lonely it is and how expensive it already is. Um,
absolutely.
so I've had the pleasure of just being a blessing to other people, and because people were blessings to me, like this one angel. And so she mailed me a shirt in the mail that said something beautiful is about to happen. So she sent me that
Aw.
t-shirt and then sent me his cell phone number.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to him and he immediately was like, yeah, I'll help you. I just couldn't believe it. So I switched
Wow.
from his Colorado clinic to Syracuse, and I went out and I met Kiltz.
Wow.
And I started doing cycles with him. And um, and he brought up this wild and just bizarre carnivore idea, right? And I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm like, I've tried everything. I've tried everything. Here's another, but the thing is deep down, I knew it had something to do with the food, you know?
Good. Oh, I'm glad. It
Yeah, so I
is.
kind of pushed back a little. Was like, I'm already keto. We don't need to talk about this, right? And then I had another
Mm.
cycle. Had another
Mhm.
failed cycle, and I called him and I'm hysterical. And he says, okay, he says, are you done? Like, he had to put up with so much with me. Like, I was just off the chain, and he had to give me like the stern, like talking to like a father. Okay, like, are you
Yeah.
done? Are you done crying? Are you gonna listen to me now? And I said,
Yeah.
I will stand on my head and howl at the moon if you told me to, at this point. Because I was just
Oh.
defeated. And he says, okay, he says, you're going to eat the baby's diet or the lion's diet, right?
Mhm, mhm. Right.
Bacon, eggs, butter, beef, salt, intermittent fasting, and you may have some Kiltis ice cream once in a while. And that's it.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, that is it. I had to quit coffee and everything.
Wow.
I was dying. I'm like, no coffee. What am I gonna So I said, all right. I said, I'll do it. And he coached me. I mean, for an hour we talked. We had such a deep talk about it and just that and
Yes.
spirituality and just aligning myself, my mind, all about what you put in your mind and in your mouth, right? And so
Mhm.
we got into that and deep into like spirituality about it, right?
Mhm.
On the like kind of like the religious side. And I said, okay. I said, I have faith that this is going to work. I trust you.
Mhm.
Do it. And I did, and I did it. And the first 2 weeks was awful.
Okay.
Terrible.
Was it awful because you were just so bored? You needed more flavor? How was it awful?
No, it was more like so Joe Rogan, I guess, he's talked about it with like
The
Salandino and
loose
Sean
boots.
Baker, right? Yes.
Yeah.
The first 2 weeks is like you're just running to the bathroom. Not
Yes,
everyone, but
it
I
was.
was like, man, and it was like a hard oxalate detox. It was like I had to drink extra magnesium because my calves would lock up, and I was craving
Oh,
so much. I was craving the carbs and the sugar, and I wanted to every time I saw a piece of chocolate, I just wanted to eat it. And it was
got
just
it.
I didn't realize like how hard of a detox I had to go through, and just how
Mhm.
addictive truly sugar and carbs are. I like it
Yeah.
was like I couldn't believe it. It was such a, and I used to work clinically, right, as a social worker, and I've watched people like hard detox off of drugs, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
man, I wonder if
Mm-hmm.
this is like, like the sweating and you smell and you're like fiending for some sugar, like some chocolate or something.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, Kilt's ice cream got me through. Like, thank God for that. And I was just like,
And did
oh,
you have
all
Kiltz's ice cream with sugar or no sugar?
no. So it's a little bit of salt vanilla flavoring.
Amazing.
Right. Yeah.
Amazing.
So, but that made me realize, oh, well, if I increase my fat intake, then I won't crave the carbs as much.
Yes, it works.
Right. Right. Because it was like all milk fat, right? You just like, that's
Right.
ice, it's all the milk fat, eggs, a little bit of salt, and then your vanilla
Love it.
flavoring. Right.
Yes.
So that really got me through. And I remember it was day 74 because I was counting the days because he wanted me to do this for 90 days before I did another cycle. Because
Amazing.
your mitochondria, they regenerate every 90 days. Or you make new eggs, you make new sperm every 90 days.
Right.
Um, so day 74, I woke up.
Mm-hmm.
My acne was cleared up. It was right. So all my cystic acne was gone. I had just like a little bit of scarring left, which is now all gone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my hair started growing back. I was like balding on my crown, and I had like hair growing. My energy
Amazing.
was back. My libido was through the roof. My eczema was
Yay.
gone. The only thing, right? Yay! I was like, yes. I'm like,
Happy birthday.
feel like I'm in my 20s again.
Uh,
And my eczema, all that was left was the just like some dry patches.
yes.
I could not believe
Amazing.
it. And it
Wow.
was crazy because I was walking around the same weight. I was walking around 120, but everybody said that I looked really lean, and it was because the inflammation was gone.
Mm.
So, right. So like my face looked like it leaned out. I looked leaner, but I had more muscle mass and
Yes, you
still sitting
retained it.
about the same. Right.
Um,
And because I remember I was like, I can't be because I stepped on the scale, same weight. I'm like, oh, the inflammation is gone. So I
yeah.
was no longer puffy.
Yes. Seriously,
Yeah.
when you're eating carbs, you can be the same exact weight on that scale, but you look different. Your
Yes.
body, especially your face as a woman, like I have face photos of when I was eating only carbs on a vegan diet and then on eating zero carbs carnivore diet. It's just, I feel like I look like a different woman,
You do.
and it is
I've seen
inflammation.
those pictures. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was really bad acne and scarring, and like
for
your
sure.
skin is just flawless now.
Oh,
It's
thank
just
you.
like, yeah.
Well,
So
Bianca, I have some follow-ups because that was a very, very interesting intro that you shared there. You struggled big time your first few weeks of carnivore, and this will help a lot of people because we have new carnivores watching these live streams every single time. Bianca struggled with muscle cramping, with intense sugar cravings, and with loose stools. Who here has struggled with those things during their adaptation as well? Put it in the live chat. Are you struggling with it right now? Let us know. We would be happy to help you guys out. Later, we will be answering questions. So, for your muscle cramps, let's start with that. What resolved that? Was it electrolytes? Was it just salt? Any other tips you have?
so I started drinking, like I did the LMNT raw because
Nice.
the flavor ones are just not, they have
Not
that
good. Not
addictive
yeah.
chemical component in it. But
Right.
so I did that, supplemented with that and some creatine, and that's really what made the difference.
Amazing. I haven't heard of that tip. So, creatine specifically helped with the cramping?
So it's a specific kind of creatine. I don't I have to I have the container I can send it to you, but it's a
Yeah,
certain kind of creatine. Um
super cool.
right. And so but that's I mean, I don't know if it did or not, but like that is what I did. That's what I was told. Hey, this will help if you do
Nice.
electrolytes, your potassium, magnesium, salt, and then some creatine. Um
That's great.
because creatine helps you hold on to the water. right?
To the water weight, right. It
Right.
probably
You
helps
know,
with
I'm
hydration too.
right, which will help more with the muscle cramping, especially
Mhm.
in the first 2 weeks because I'm loose stools, right? So you're gonna get
Yes.
dehydrated, right? The more you go, the more
Exactly.
the higher chance of dehydration. So,
Yes.
yeah, so that combination helped me.
Perfect. Makes total sense to me. With the sugar cravings, would you say that all the fat in Dr. Kiltz's ice cream recipe helped, or did you also supplement your carnivore meals with more fat? Super curious to know
I
that.
did. I mean, I would put like half a
Love
stick
that.
of butter on my ribeyes.
Really?
Yes, and I was
I love
eating
that.
I was eating and I still do, and I mean, like, I still eat, like, relatively the same. I still eat about up to 2 pounds of meat a day. That's just because 'cause I'm hungry. I lift almost every day. I'm hungry all the time. I'm go, 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 go. So, it was,
Yes.
yeah, so it's just, like, lots of extra butter. I did a lot of raw dairy, raw cheese, raw milk. I mean, I still drink raw milk. I absolutely love it.
Yes.
And I just increase my fats in that manner, like fatty fish, anything with a face, I ate it.
I love that.
Still
Anything with
do,
a face. Yes.
except for people. Well, I
Yes.
mean, it depends. It depends on if I like them or not.
I'm super curious, where do you get your raw dairy living in Florida?
So we actually have local farms out here and farmers that provide it. So there's a ranch out here, Starkey Ranch. We have what is it? Clearview Produce, Moonberry Mercantile, and I'm actually
Wow.
friends with a local goat farmer, and so I get my raw goat milk directly from her farm.
Wow.
Sometimes she delivers to my door like the old milkman.
Oh my gosh, that's the
Yeah,
cutest.
yeah, just go and just milk your own goat and you're good to go. Yeah, and so
Wow.
it's been really cool. And then I have two ranchers out here. Um, because you have to offset your cows when you purchase them. They do half or a whole. I do half. I have 7 cubic
Mhm.
foot deep freezer chest, and it can fit it all in there. It yields me about 322 pounds per cow, somewhere around there, around 300, and it lasts me up to 7
Awesome.
months. But so, it takes time. The cows have to grow to 2 years, so alternating on their like roster for half a
Yeah,
cow, and they're all just naturally grown. They just let them mate. They don't touch
beautiful.
them, and they grass fed, grass finished, and you can tell because the meat is purple and the fat is yellow.
Mm. Oh my gosh, that is ideal. Purple meat,
Right,
yellow fat. Absolutely.
right.
Is it leaner or is it pretty marbled?
It's pretty marbled. The ribeyes,
Amazing.
yeah.
Best. Yeah. Good for you that you have such phenomenal sources of raw dairy, of beef. Now, let's talk a little bit about body recomposition because you touched lightly on that. And a lot of people, they come to carnivore wanting to lose weight, to get rid of all that inflammation, and to build muscle as well. So let's start with the fat loss. Would you say that you just got fat loss the longer you stuck to a carnivore diet, or did you find that, incorporating some workouts sped it up as well?
No, I mean, we haven't gotten to that part, but after I was successful in IVF, after the
Yes,
90
yes, we'll get
days,
to
my
that.
next cycle was successful finally, thanks
Oh,
to going
amazing.
carnivore and reducing all the inflammation. My body finally carried a baby to full term.
Yes, yes.
But so I held on, postpartum is really hard and I couldn't
Right.
drop the weight. And so the whole time I carnivore, I didn't fluctuate. I continued to work out. I ate the same. I didn't fluctuate. It was just the inflammation went down. But I had my baby and I couldn't drop the weight. Well,
Okay.
and I stayed the same. Like I just maintained it. So what
Mhm.
I had to do was go into a calorie deficit in order to cut.
Ah,
So I had to
on a
cut
carnivore diet, calorie
on a
deficit?
carnivore diet. Yes, I did. And that's how I
Now,
was able
were
to
you
cut.
very, very interesting. So did you breastfeed while you were cutting, or did you wait until after that period of
I waited
breastfeeding?
till after. I did it,
Uh,
I started my cut, I think 3 or 4 months ago, and I just ended it 2 weeks ago.
ah,
So,
okay, and what were the results?
Oh, so the results are I have visible abs now. And I got rid of
Nice.
the baby pouch.
Wow.
I feel a lot better, and I'm back into my old clothes again. It's great. It's
That
fantastic.
just that seriously just goes to show, like, you literally just had a baby. You're recovering from being pregnant and giving birth, and then in just 4 short months, you're able to go back to your pre-baby body composition and weight. That just shows the power of a carnivore pregnancy and a carnivore diet. So congratulations, Bianca. I do want to go back to getting pregnant because as a female carnivore account on Instagram, on YouTube, I do get a lot of inquiries asking, well, how is carnivore diet safe for getting pregnant? How can it be possible to be pregnant and eat only meat? How is that not dangerous? How is that not going to cause heart issues and for your baby? So, did you have any of these fears and worries getting pregnant and going through your pregnancy, growing the baby, and still eating only meat?
Nope. Not even
Why?
not one.
How?
So so here's the one question I ask people who ask me those kinds of questions. Like, aren't you worried about your
Yeah.
heart? Okay. I ask them, I say,
Yeah.
well, you know what's the highest cholesterol saturated fat food on the entire planet? And they can't answer. Do you know what it is?
Mhm.
You know what it is.
Highest cholesterol, saturated fat, animal fat, butter, tallow?
It's breast milk.
Of course it is. Yeah,
Right.
I
So
exactly.
how can it be bad?
Right.
Because a baby's first food is a
That
keto food. It's a high fat, high 1 cup of breast milk only yields 7 grams of carbs. That's it in an entire
okay,
cup. It is a keto food. It is a high fat, high cholesterol. The brain cannot survive without fat and cholesterol. It can't.
absolutely.
And the body doesn't make anything bad, right? HDL, LDL, the body doesn't make anything bad. And I know that it gets a lot deeper with your, fluffy
Yeah.
cholesterol. You're right. So, which we won't get into because I'm not an expert on that. But my thing is, my thing is that it's that if the brain is made over or primarily of cholesterol, how could it be bad? It's like our bodies are made of about 80% water. Why wouldn't you drink the water? Right?
Mhm.
Drink the water, eat the fat, you know. So when cholesterol becomes an issue is when your triglycerides are elevated. So it's not the fat, it's the sugar. So triglycerides, right? And it's like the saying goes, like, don't blame the burger for what the buns, fries, and soda did. It's the buns, fries, and
Well
the
said.
soda. Right.
Literally. Yep.
So
Yep.
I did. And I remember I got like, so I was like, I'm not gonna get an OBGYN and have it. I was like, I am not dealing with that. I am so done with
Mhm.
these like conventional
Wow.
doctors. I don't, nope. And I hired a midwife to home birth. And
Amazing.
yep, and
Wow.
very minimal interaction during pregnancy. We just let it happen. I had my ultrasounds. I didn't do that gestational diabetes test. She even told me, you don't need to do it. She's like, you don't eat anything that would make us have to do this test. You don't have to do it if you don't want to. And I was like, no, I was like, I'm not comfortable drinking 100 grams of sugar and red 40 because if I didn't have it before, I'll have it
Literally.
now. You're going to give it to me. Like, I just can't believe women go, I understand that everyone believes they're doing the
Yeah.
best. I've been there.
Yes.
But the idea of consuming 100 grams of sugar in one setting
Yeah.
with loaded with dyes
Madness.
and red, just right. And there
Yeah.
are alternatives for women that can't seem to get around it. There's like the fresh test, or you can just drink a glass of Welch's grape juice. You don't have to drink the chemical that they give you in the
Oh, wow.
office. Right.
Goodness.
There are alternatives. They just won't tell you that. So,
Mhm.
and I tell
Mhm.
women that who can't seem to get around not doing the test, I say, well, consider doing a fresh test or drinking Welch's grape juice. You'll be just fine. You can eat 2 bananas and do it.
Yes.
Like, you don't have to drink that. So I didn't do any of that stuff. I had a very just natural pregnancy. But because of like the trauma of the loss previous and because of everything that I went through to have her, I had like like trauma. So I suffered from like anxiety through my pregnancy because of all the trauma. So like,
Got it.
I mean, I had a headache for 2 days and checked myself into labor and delivery, because I was
Oh,
just that paranoid, but everything
I
was
see.
always fine. So I
I see.
remember, yeah, I'm like, I have a headache for 2 days. It's probably the blood pressure. I'm gonna go with it,
Oh,
because I was so scared because of
yes.
you know,
Yeah, you want to make
even
sure everything's okay.
right, because of and it's like women that have been through it truly understand that, just
Yeah.
going through that panic, all the
Um,
time
gotcha.
because you're so traumatized by all the loss and all the hardship for the years that you
Mm,
go through it. And every time,
mhm,
of course, everything was fine, but I remember one time that I checked myself in because I was being
mhm.
a hypochondriac. The,
Oh,
um, the nurse asked me, like, "Are you taking your prenatal vitamins?" And I ignored her, kept answering her questions. "Are you taking prenatal vitamins?"
yeah.
And finally I said, "Look, I'm gonna tell you everything I'm doing, and I don't wanna hear it." And she's typing, like, "Okay." And I said, "Okay." I said, "I don't take prenatals." And she's grunting. She's grunting
Oh,
at me. I said, "I don't eat fruits and vegetables." She's like mortified, typing.
yeah.
I'm like, "I only eat meat and my vitamins are animal organs,"
Oh,
and she was
yes.
mortified. And I'm like, and I
Wow.
told her and I said, "And everything's fine and this is a healthy pregnancy. Well, why are you here?" I said, "Because I'm a traumatized hypochondriac. That's why I'm
Oh,
here."
yeah. Right.
So, and I told her, I said, I assure you everything's fine and perfect. I'm just being neurotic, you know? Well, she says, "Okay,
Amazing.
we'll see." She says, "Oh yeah." An hour later, the doctor comes in. And she comes in with the doctor, and the doctor says, "We found some ketones in your urine." I said, "Yeah, they're always there."
Oh, and that's
Yeah,
normal.
because carnivore is keto.
Right. So she understands at least.
Well, no, no. Well, no, the doctor told me. She came in with the doctor, and he says there's ketones in your urine. And I said, "I know, there's always ketones in my urine." He says, "Oh,
Oh,
okay." And I said, "Yeah." I said, I said, "There's always going to be." I said, I am on a carnivore diet, so there's going to be
yep.
ketones in there."
Yep.
Okay, he says, "Okay." And he says, "And everything's perfect. All your labs are
Oh,
perfect. Like they are
there you go.
optimal." That was what he said.
Fantastic.
Optimal.
Yes.
And I looked at her
Optimal.
and I looked at the nurse that gave me a hard time and I said, "I told you so."
Well, that's good that they gave you the peace of mind that nothing was
Yeah.
going south. Everything is
I
perfect
mean,
and optimal.
right. I
Yeah.
knew it. I was just where I
Just
was
making
at,
sure. Of course.
So
Understand.
I went on um and I had her. I went through a
Yay.
40-hour labor. Yay.
40-hour labor. Wow.
It
Wow.
was
Was it a
awful. Yeah.
water bath? Water
I
birth?
tried. I tried.
Oh,
So when your water breaks after 24 hours, they legally it's mandatory they have to transfer you to the hospital. So in the
okay.
hospital, and I labored up to 40, and then it turned into a C-section. So it
Got
crushed
it.
my entire dream of a natural birth, but she's here. She's safe. That's what matters.
Here, she's healthy. Exactly.
Yeah. And so I breastfed her up until about 10 months. And then after that,
Wow.
we supplemented her with raw goat's milk until a year because raw goat's milk is the closest to human breast milk.
Oh,
Her first
wow.
food was at 6 months old, and it was bone marrow whip. That was her first food because they're coming off of breast milk. You have to supplement the iron
Iron.
because breast
Yeah.
milk is
Okay.
also high in iron.
Got
And
it.
that's how we got the extra iron, and she loved it. I mean, she was like, she loved from the first time she ever had animal products, she loved it. Um,
Yeah.
and she supplement her with goat's milk until a year, because after a year they can start drinking regular, but it was all A2 grass-fed cow milk. She still drinks it
Wow.
to this day. And yeah, and so her favorite thing, we go to the grocery store, she reaches for the stick of butter. I open it up in the store, I let her eat it. I push her around in the car and she munches on a stick of butter. So
Amazing.
she got the majority of her teeth really early. She's in the
Mhm.
99th percentile for her height. She stands over 3 feet tall. She's not even 2 yet.
Wow.
She's very
Wow.
tall. Yeah, most of her teeth.
Amazing.
Walking, talking. She started walking at 10 months.
Wow.
A lot of people, including the doctors, were like, "Wow, she's advanced." Her teachers, and I say, "She's actually not. This is normal." Allegedly, the CDC turned milestones backwards. So, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, you have to say that. So, yeah, so the milestones have been, kind of just downgraded.
Okay.
Yeah. So she walked early, talked early, teeth early, very tall. And the
Very
pediatrician says, I think it was after her 1 year checkup. He looks at her and he says, "This is it. She is going to be a piano playing athlete." And he calls
Ugh,
her the long, lean lady. She's very long and
wow.
lean. Yeah. Very
Amazing.
strong
Oh my
kid.
gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just,
Wow. What a
yeah.
seriously, what a journey. From literally being not able to get pregnant to giving birth to such a healthy baby girl. For those watching this live stream and after it's posted as a playback and they are struggling with their fertility, what would you like to say to the women and the men, the couples who are trying to get pregnant together but are struggling?
I'm going to tell them what was told to me when I first started by Magarelli, and it's what gave me the hope and the drive to keep going. He looked at me and he said, "Look, it's not if, it's when. It's when.
Mhm.
And you
Wow.
have to know that, and you have to believe it."
Mhm.
And I did. Um, and if anyone's struggling and they're not, you're not carnivore, ketovore, or anything like that yet, just give it a try. I mean, the reality is that you've got nothing to lose in trying it. And that's why I tell people, "Oh, I can't bring myself." Well, why not? What have you got to lose? Your inflammation, your autoimmune
Exactly.
issues, um, you know, low libido.
Exactly.
I mean, what do you have to lose by
Yeah.
just trying it, you know?
Well said. So
Yeah.
powerful. Guys, we'll take questions now. So if you have questions for Bianca after hearing her story, drop it in the live chat and I'm going to go in order. Before I forget, Bianca, you said that anybody can reach out to you for support because
Mhm.
you understand how important it is. How should one go about connecting with you?
Go ahead and add me on Instagram, Making Baby McCree, or you can add me on Facebook, Bianca McCree. My name's also here in the box if you can see
Right
it.
there. Yep.
Mhm.
Perfect.
So just reach out to me on social media. That's going to be the best way. I will answer, and then we'll connect from there.
Beautiful. It's typed in the live chat. I'll make sure to link her pages down below in the description box as well. All right. So I do see quite a few questions here. Let me scroll back up. I saw this one about the farms that you specifically go to. If you could possibly repeat them and I'll write them down because we've got some locals watching.
So it's Starkey Ranch and then Brooksville Beef.
Starkey Ranch.
Brooksville
Okay.
Beef. And then
Brooksfield.
Beef. Lakeview Farm Shop.
Okay.
That's in Clearwater. And then Moonberry Mercantile. So
Moonberry Mercantile. Mm-hmm.
yeah, so those will get you can get your milk for most of them. They have all kinds of milk,
Amazing.
homemade sourdough bread if some people can't get around, everything's holistically, naturally made. They have grass-fed beef, they have all that stuff that you can just get from there.
Beautiful.
Oh, yeah,
Very good.
farm fresh eggs too. Just
Wow.
like, yeah, all and they're honestly, people are paying like $9 for eggs, and these are like just straight from the farm, $6. I mean,
Perfect.
totally affordable.
All right. So there it is. Frank, you asked. Let me just say it one more time for everyone who missed it. Lakeview Farm Shop in Clearwater, Moonberry Mercantile. These places you can get raw dairy, and then we've got Starkey Ranch. Is Starkey Ranch for dairy as well?
So dairy and cattle.
And cattle. Brooksfield beef. I'm guessing beef.
It's just cattle. Yep.
Got it. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Let's keep going. Ooh, this one from Cherokee Queen. Did you go to hospital for your delivery? If so, how did you get around the hospital food?
Yeah, I know. So yeah, so I did. I was home and then I got transferred to the hospital and ended a C-section. How I got around it was I sent my family out to get me steak down the road.
Oh, good. That's what
Yeah,
I would do.
and then I Uber Eats. But like they also give you a menu at the hospital, so I would just order the salmon by itself and then I would Uber Eats or I would send like my sister or somebody out to down the street to the steakhouse and like get me a steak. So I got around it.
Perfect. Yep. Love that. Make your family go buy it.
Yep, and I
Perfect.
just ordered the meats off the menu and that was it.
Excellent. Let's do this one from Erica. Anyone else have crazy hormone shifts starting carnivore? Wondering if there is anything to mobilizing fat stores releasing a ton of junk. Any thoughts on this, Bianca?
I mean, my hormone shifts happened, but it was like for the good, like my libido was up, like, no more acne. Oh, I forgot to tell you, my
Mhm.
periods are so pleasant. I have no
Yay!
pain,
Good.
zero pain. It's like great mood. Oh yeah, I suffered from PMDD, which is like the nasty stepsister of PMS. That none of
Oh,
that happens anymore. It's like 5 days of just pleasantry.
fantastic.
I mean,
That's
I
the way it
hate
should be.
periods, and now I'm, like, cool with it. I'm like, "Oh, she's it's no big deal." Yeah, so, yeah, those were my hormone shifts. Everything was much better. I mean, like, I remember I had, like, night sweats
Mhm.
from bad hormones. Like, that doesn't happen anymore. Um, so I mean, I'm
Yeah.
not quite sure what kind of like hormone shifts Erica might be experiencing,
Yeah.
um, and uh what she means by mobilizing fat stores,
Yeah.
meaning are she not able to
Sure.
lose the weight?
I think maybe Erica is saying like she's losing some fat. And as people lose a lot of fat, the body wants to detox. The fat cells
Yes.
start detoxing things,
Right.
and you go through some negative symptoms as a result of the detox of the junk from the fat cells. So, Erica, if you don't mind circling back in the chat with us and telling us what type of hormone shifts you're experiencing, maybe we can help you a little bit more.
I
With
will
the hormone
also
shifts, yeah, go
yeah,
ahead.
I'll also say this. I am a big fan of wellness clinics. If you have to, go get
Yeah,
hooked up to an IV with vitamins in it to help you as you're detoxing. Just do it.
exactly.
Just go get a bag of vitamins, hook yourself up, get hydrated. It will help with the
Right.
detoxing. It's totally worth
So
it.
so funny because just the other day I was chatting with someone here in Vegas, and a lot of the Vegas locals, they recommend doing these IV trips because here in Vegas it is extremely dry. Like everyday weather, yes, you get the sun, but you get zero humidity, unlike Florida. When I was there, beautiful humid weather. I prefer humid weather because it's
Me
good for
too.
your skin. I love it. But in Vegas, it is literally the opposite. And they're just saying, these IV drips are life changing. It just saves you from having to chug water or doing the electrolytes. Like I eat high fat. So I feel like the high fat carnivore diet for me keeps me nice and hydrated. But man, living in Vegas, I do feel it, the dryness
Yeah.
here. So do recommend that actually. And I really want to try it myself.
I love it.
Okay.
It's a great
Yeah.
holistic alternative for sure.
Love that. So Alexander says, I am not loose in my stools, but it is hard and painful. So he has the opposite of what you experienced. He has
Yeah.
probably constipation. Am I not eating enough butter. What do you think?
Not enough fat. Yeah. So the rule of thumb is if it's really loose, pull back on the fat. If it's harder, if it's tougher, then you want to increase the fat. And
Exactly.
that's what Chafee tells people to do also.
He says that a lot. Yep. Very
Hmm.
helpful advice. Here, Erica says, same thing happened to me. Infertility, 8 months carnivore, and boom, healthy baby that's also crushing her milestones. Highly recommend. That's
I love
amazing.
it. Yeah. And my daughter
Congrats.
eats liver. Like her favorite snacks are like raw liver and pork rinds. Like it's amazing.
Amazing.
I
What
can't
a dream.
even. I know.
Wow. You're literally the best mom. She's going to love you.
Thank you. She
Seriously.
does. She's a mommy's girl.
Oh, good.
She is.
Amanda says, love you girls. Love you back, Amanda. Hey, how are you guys liking this conversation? I am loving that we are talking all things women's hormones, women's health tonight. Let us know how you're enjoying this conversation in the live chat. Ooh, this is good. Mark wants to know, how can I learn how to start carnivore? So what are your best tips?
My best tips are throw out the garbage in your fridge today. Just get rid of
Very
just that's what I had to do. I took everything in my pantry and everything in my fridge and I dumped it. Obviously, don't touch the bacon, eggs, butter, and any kind of meat you have in there. Just leave that, but just get rid of it. You don't need it. Do a grocery shop. Just stock up. And it's just rule of thumb. If it doesn't come from an animal, so because people ask me all the time, well, can I do eggs? Well, yeah, it comes from an animal. Butter comes from an animal, right? Just if it comes from the animal, just do it and just stock up. And you want to eat until you're satiated. You have to. So, you know, chances are a half a pound steak isn't going to do it and you're going to have to eat the full pound. So you want to make sure that you eat enough because if you don't, you're going to go right back to craving carbs later that day. So you want to make sure that you eat enough. Oh, I can't hear you.
Sorry, muted.
There.
Fantastic. A little starter kit right there, Bianca. So, Mark, I'm going to recap for you. Throw out all the junk, throw it out in your fridge, in your pantry, everywhere. Otherwise, if you leave it in the house, you are going to be tempted. And when you're hungry, when you're getting those late night munchies, you're definitely going to reach for those foods. And then you're going to have to start over, which is fine, but it just makes it so much easier if it's not in the house. And then eating enough is key. It is one of my favorite tips to reiterate is to eat more, eat enough. Perfect. Okay, let's keep going. This one's for me. I'll just quickly answer. Juan wants to know, Bella, when the baby? I'm guessing when am I going to get pregnant? So, this I am currently, preparing for my first pregnancy. And I recently had a conversation with my husband, Max, and we both plan on getting pregnant end of this year. So we will get pregnant together end of this year. And so you guys, I think, can expect a little steak and butter baby next summer.
I
So
can't wait.
just announcing that. Thank you. I'm seriously so excited. Okay. Do you eat raw meat, Bianca? Because I have heard that women that eat mostly raw have much easier pregnancies.
So the only thing I ate raw in my pregnancy was liver. That's it. I mean, I was medium rare. I'm a medium rare girl. I do love a steak tartare, and once in a while, something will come over me, and I'll take a bite out of just like a ribeye that's not mooing, like a raw ribeye.
Mhm.
Sometimes I just want to eat it. Like I don't know, but no. In my pregnancy, I did not. I cooked everything to medium rare, and the only thing I ate raw was liver. Was my liver, but it doesn't make a difference if you cook it or not. I don't think. I mean, you're still getting the same kind of nutrition. So as long as you don't
Yep.
like kill it twice, and by that I mean, it's a well done and you're now eating a shoe.
Yeah. Exactly. As long as you eat it medium rare or rare, better yet, bloody rare, blue rare. But having that flash sear gives a lot of us carnivores that peace of mind that it's it's, it's safe to eat.
Yeah,
Eating
I'm not
everything
so
raw
worried
is
about
just a bit risky. Yeah,
I'm not so worried
exactly.
about
Especially when you're
beef, but
growing beef.
other meats, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Exactly. Good. Okay, let's do this. What are your thoughts on cheating with sourdough bread?
Um, so if here's the thing, sourdough bread has a low glycemic index, and if you bake it yourself, it's not terrible. However, it's kind of like the whole like Kiltz's thing. Once in a while, treat yourself. Okay, once in a while, he likes to cook fries and duck fat. I agree with that. Once in a while, sure, I'll drop some, fries and some like animal fat. Once in a blue, it's not like it can't. Sourdough bread cannot be like a daily thing. I don't see
Yeah.
anything with it, but I wouldn't even introduce other things like that yet until you've been strict for 3 to 6 months because it just makes it a lot easier to slowly like backslide back into it. Like you want to make sure that you are like really solid, you're really detoxed and like you do have a discipline because sometimes even introducing like just even a little bit it really backslides people. Um, but if you
Exactly.
get to that point and you're like, 90 days, 126 months in, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna try a piece of like homemade, raw
Yeah.
organic sourdough bread. I mean, I don't nobody's gonna judge you for that. Just don't eat the whole loaf and don't do it
Exactly.
every day. You know?
Exactly. Great.
Yeah, and just see how you
Okay.
tolerate it. You got to see how you tolerate things. Because there are
Right.
people who
You might.
simply add things back in,
Yeah.
and they can tolerate it or they can't. I ate
Exactly.
sushi once on a cheat meal, and I said,
Mhm.
right, I probably won't do that again because I felt like trash afterward.
Really? And so you had the
Mm.
sushi with the rice and the seaweed.
I
Did you
had
have
the
it with like all
rolls,
the
yeah,
sauciness? Yeah, the
all
rolls.
of it.
Okay.
I said, up, I haven't had sushi in a year.
Yeah. Man,
So good though,
so
but
my husband is a sucker for sushi, but the nigiri is what they call it with the little
nigiri
rice and just
sashimi.
a piece.
Oh,
Yeah, the clean one. It's just the sushi rice and one nice high quality raw fish on
yes.
top. So there isn't any of the fried stuff, the sugary sauces. And you see, my husband surprises me every single day because he really does thrive on more of an animal based diet, all things considered, right? Because he does need his energy in the gym. He is metabolically healthy to start with. So, this just goes to show, Alexander, it all depends on where you are in your health journey. Are you extremely ill and needing to heal a lot of things? Or are you metabolically healthy like my husband and just wanting to do it to feel optimal? Right? So maybe sourdough bread can work for you, or it may be terrible for you. Try it. Let us know, okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. Marlis, what kind of hospital food did they try to give you?
They didn't. They handed me a menu and said, order whatever you want. They didn't
Oh,
try to give me
wow.
anything. They did
Oh,
try to
good.
give my daughter sugar, though, a
Yeah.
pack of sugar, because,
Oh,
they do the sticks.
terrible.
Oh, her glycemic index is low. I said,
Oh my
yeah, she was just born and now she's nursing. And then they try to feed her this sugar packet. And
Gee, are
yeah,
you
like
kidding me?
they weren't going to let me
Wow.
leave until her sugars
Oh my
stabilized. But
gosh. What a
yeah,
scam. They
I
try
know.
to hook you onto sugar the moment you enter the world.
Yes.
Terrible.
And I read the packet and I'm like, you, and I told the nurse, I said, you know that there's not just sugar in here, right? I'm like, there are chemicals in here that I can't even pronounce. Can you pronounce these? And she's like, no. I'm like,
Terrible.
why do they give this? I'm like, it's not just like sucrose or it's fruit. It's no, it's literally
No.
like with chemicals that you can't even. Yeah,
Insane.
yeah,
Wow.
I know. Yep. Yep. So she
Gosh.
had breast milk for 2 days. She was fine. We went home.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Valerie wants to know, I didn't catch where you get your pasture raised eggs for $6 a dozen. Are those eggs
So down
soy
at the
and
Lakeview Farm Shop, it's like a local, and then sometimes it's Starkey. There's somewhere around like $6 and change or something like that. But they're a little
sure.
like half dozen or dozen, and I'm
Yep.
not sure. I just know they come from local farmers. So
Cool.
I don't know what they're
Okay.
feeding them. No idea.
Honestly, like you would be surprised at the deals that you guys can snag on staple carnivore foods, including eggs, including beef, when you just create friendships with your local ranchers and your local farmers. First step that you guys can take is just search where your local farmers market is at, what day, what time, go visit, go talk to those people and create those relationships. It will save you so much money. Okay. Lisa, this is a good one for you. I have PMDD and suspected endometriosis and waiting for laparoscopic surgery to confirm. How long did it take for symptoms to resolve for you on carnivore? About 2 months in lion diet plus seafood.
Cool. So I had laparoscopic surgery as well for my endometriosis. Um, and several months after that, it was when, or no, it was like a year later, it was when I went carnivore, and it hasn't returned. But like I said, it was like around 74 days. So it was just over the 2-month mark was when I stopped having the PMDD and all the symptoms. After the 90-day mark was when I felt the best. And then, 6 months was really where I was already about 3 months into my 2 or 3 months in, but that was really where I started to feel the absolute best. So
Mm-hmm.
hang in there.
Yep.
You're only 2 months in, and we don't know how much cellular damage we have. We don't know how far you have to detox. Like my detox was really hard. So we just it's like Bella mentioned earlier, like some people have a longer journey of healing. Some people are just more metabolically intact than like I was, or you were, coming back from vegan. So hang in
Right.
there, stick to it, and I mean, every month it gets better. It gets better. And that laparoscopic surgery will help because it'll clean up whatever's there for you. And then carnivore will definitely help you maintain that so that it doesn't return. It'd be great because endometriosis, all
Yep.
it is inflammation. It's
Inflammation.
literally, it's like a literal, like a plaque growth, almost like what happens to the myelin sheath in the brain when which is like Alzheimer's dementia, which is type 3
Yes.
diabetes, which is caused by sugar. A lot of people don't know that
Right.
type 3 diabetes is
Yep.
Alzheimer's dementia
Alzheimer's,
caused by,
dementia,
yeah,
plan.
crystallized sugar plaqued onto the myelin sheath of the brain. And that's why, and all these people, they're on statins and insulin. They all have
Mm-hmm.
insulin resistance, every single one of them.
Yep. They just don't know better,
No.
So it's people like you that are literally opening up minds and telling people, hey, this is the truth. It's time to wake up. People are waking up. I do see it day after day after day. Thank you, Bianca. So, Nancy, welcome, welcome. I'm going crazy because I feel like everything I eat, I bloat. And I don't even want to put my jeans on because of it. It is so uncomfortable. Should I de-bloat with carnivore? Is bloating inflammation?
Bloating is inflammation, right? So when we eat, fruits and vegetables, what happens is that it's loaded with cellulose, and the human body wasn't created to break down cellulose. So it's like the song goes, beans are good for your heart. The more you eat, the more you fart. Yeah, of course you fart because you now full of gas because your body, your gut, they're fermenting in the gut, causing all this gas and bloating. That's not
Yes.
a good thing.
No, it's not.
It's not. I have never had gas and bloating and not been able to button my jeans after eating a steak. I feel the same. I feel like
Mm.
an apex predator, right? Like I don't have to go and get my fat girl pants or my yoga pants on. Like I literally don't deal with that. I don't de- And it's so crazy, right? Because I don't deal with like the flatulence and the bloating and all. I just don't deal with
Right.
that anymore.
Literally. Oh my gosh. I have to ask everyone in this live stream, put it in the chat, put it in the comments. Who here has noticed a significant decrease in bloat, gas, and even going number 2? Why not?
Right.
Let's all share that. Right. Less waste. And then for the member who asked this question, Nancy, I'm sorry that you are going through this terrible bloat, but it does get better. I'm guessing that you are not on a carnivore diet yet to heal the bloat. So we do suggest that you try a carnivore reset. Go carnivore, do it slowly if that's what you need. But carnivore absolutely will give you hope and can de-bloat your stomach and de-bloat your body. So good
And it
luck.
will. It will.
It will. Yes, it happened
Well,
to both of us. It happens to literally everyone. Okay. You might have to tweak it a little bit, but it can work. So keep us posted, Nancy, and thank you so much. All right, let's keep going. And we will wrap up after a couple more questions. So we will not be taking any more new questions after my Yush. Bianca, can you share what the recipe was for the ice cream you were eating?
yeah. So go to Google Dr. Kiltz's keto ice cream, and it'll come up on drkiltz.com, and the recipe is in there.
Perfect. If someone can link that in the live chat, that would be fantastic. So it's saved. And then let's keep going. Okay, so this one is from Mayush. How can you prevent pregnancy without artificial contraceptives?
Track your cycle. Just track it.
Ah,
Just track it. Like you should know what your body's doing. As a woman, it's imperative that we are in tune with our bodies, right? I know
yeah,
when I'm gonna ovulate. I know, right? Well, and a lot of it has to do with, just having being optimal in health and hormones, that I know what my body's doing and I know when I'm gonna get my period. It is on time. My cycles are on time now every month. I
yep,
don't have to guess,
every month.
you know, and it's
Exactly.
to a point where like I don't even have to check my app or my calendar anymore. I just know, oh, my period will be here
Exactly.
tomorrow. Yeah, it's I just know. But it's just track your cycles, buy some OPK kits. It'll tell you when your surge is, and then you can gauge from
Awesome.
there. My window is,
Yeah.
between 9 and 12. So
Right,
to
right, right.
avoid that week, right?
Yes,
But yeah,
exactly.
I
Great
track it.
advice.
Yeah. And
There are
artificial,
apps.
I mean, there are lambskin
Yeah.
condoms too. I mean, you don't have to, there's I
Really?
mean,
I didn't know that.
right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, which are the better alternative. You don't have to take birth control.
Birth
It's
control
horrible. There's other
or doing the
methods.
IUD. Yeah. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
there are apps that will literally notify you and say, "Hey, now is a safe time," or "Hey, now is when you're the most fertile." It will give you data based on your monthly cycle info.
Yeah, but
So
sometimes
keep
your
that up.
body will drop an egg when it feels like it. So you have
Yeah, be careful. Right. Okay, Nico, I know you asked this a couple times. What can I eat on a low income budget? I'll share my tips, then Bianca will share hers. Ground beef, eggs, butter. You're welcome. Bianca?
Go to Sam's Club. Go to
Yes.
Sam's Club. Yeah. Go buy, I
Sam's
mean,
Club.
you can get like boxes of Kerrygold butter. You can get
Literally.
cartons of eggs. Yeah, they're not the best eggs, but they're eggs. Just eat them. Get
But
the
they're so
cartons of
cheap.
egg.
Yep.
Yeah, just the bacon, all the bacon. I mean,
Yes.
bacon in bulk, butter in bulk, eggs in bulk. Same thing with the meats and with the ground beef.
Yes.
Yeah, ground beef. I mean, I've been eating it for the last 3 days. It's been my, my breakfast and dinner. But I have steaks now waiting for me. But
Oh, good.
it's yeah, Sam's Club, just go and load up. Just I mean, it makes it much more affordable.
Fantastic. And this is our last question, and we will wrap up. Let us know how you guys enjoyed this conversation. Do you want Bianca to come back? I am happy to do more female centric conversations for you all live weekly. So put it in the chat what you think. Last one for you. How did you calculate and monitor a calorie deficit? What were the food changes you made to go into deficit? I really want to lose weight, but could also be metabolic healing.
So, I just, I tracked macros. So I had to use an app. So I put in, okay, I'm eating 1 pound ribeye, right? So, and so you want to make sure because everything's got a calorie, you know. So that's just basically what I did was I just tracked it. I bought a scale and then I weighed my food. So I weighed my steak and that, I made sure, oh, I'm gonna eat instead of 4 eggs, I ate 2 eggs, instead of a pound of beef, I ate half a pound, and I just to make sure that I was underneath, you know, or is around, around 1900 or under calories for those 3 months. So I could cut.
I mean, and Bianca, that worked effectively and quickly, but I wouldn't be surprised if your metabolism started revving back up after,
It did.
healing and recovering fully. And now you can probably eat more and still be lean, right?
I eat over 2,400 now, and I haven't
Exactly.
moved. Right.
Exactly. That's what we want, guys. So as I want to share that for those who are doing this solely for the weight loss and the fat loss, which is perfectly acceptable, we all understand, we get it. Sometimes trying to quicken up the pace or cheat the healing to get to the fat loss first, it will get you the results, but will it get you the results for long term, permanently, right? So each person's body and journey is different. And try first eating enough, like Bianca suggested. Eat plenty of fatty meat, butter, Kiltz's ice cream. Let that body adapt and heal and feel amazing. And then from there, 90 days of the magic mark to get adapted. And then from there, try out the modalities. Try out all the things that you want to try out, that you're learning from Bianca, that you're learning from all the guests on YouTube, and see how you go from there. But take those 90 days seriously, guys, when you guys start the carnivore diet, to adapt and start feeling good first, more than anything. Okay. So round of applause to Bianca. That was awesome. You are literally my first interview live stream, and I enjoyed it so much.
I am so
Seriously.
honored. Really?
Yes, you are. Because
Wow,
all of the
I'm so
other
honored.
ones, no worries. All of the other ones I do as like team Q&As, and I don't ever do it alone because, I don't know if I can, but you made it so easy and so enjoyable and fun. So thank you, Bianca.
Oh, so did you. Thank you. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I loved it
Yes,
every second.
I
So
loved it too. Awesome. And people are saying they want you back. So if you want to, I would love to have you back.
I would love
Thank
to
you, guys. Perfect.
be
I'll
on
keep
the.
in touch, Bianca. Awesome. Well, for everyone watching, thank you so much. Thank you for joining our live tonight. We will go live again Friday with the team, so expect that. And again, Bianca is happy to help you if you need the support, her to answer your questions. If you need the support for fertility as well, you guys can reach out to her on Instagram, creating Baby Mcree. And I've also put her Facebook page down below in the description box. Thank you, guys. See you next time.